Right. Yes. Well, he does, but this is his main sword that he fights with here. Okay? Watch what he can do with one hand, on the same hand. Pull out that sword and stab it from there without having to switch. So it would be really weird if you had to reach across, right? So if he gets caught without his spear, it gets knocked down, he could stab me through this little hole in the shield. And remember, there'd be another person right here. So just that little tiny hole. Okay? So if that's not enough, I knock that down. Let's say I managed to kill him. A guy with identical armor who looks just like the guy I just killed steps forward and takes the place. Whoops. I take that one out. Boom, and kill. An identical guy steps forward and takes his place. 100 times. How would you feel if every time you won, it kept starting over? Think about it if you're playing a video game and every single time you win, it starts right over again. 100 times. So that gets pretty frustrating, wouldn't it? Now, here's the funny thing, too. In battles in the real world, they didn't just fight and fight until everybody died. No. They would call a retreat, and we'd back up and they'd take a rest. Remember, everybody on my side was fighting. Who was fighting on the Roman side?
No one.
Who knows the answer? Anyone? Yes, you in the blue. Just the guys in the front, the 3 guys in the front. Everyone else is just marching forward, holding their shield. And these guys are trained. They march all day long. That's no big deal for them. So here's what the Romans do. They sound a horn. Everyone turns to the side and get kind of like window shades opening up. And all the front guys slide to the back. And a whole fresh set of new guys that haven't fought come up to the front. How would you feel about that? That would be like anyone played football or baseball or soccer or anything like that. Imagine if you played 10 minutes and every 10 minutes you had to play the entire game, but the whole other team switches out with fresh new players every 10 minutes. How would you feel about that? Especially out in the sun in Florida, right? So, the Romans were pretty tough. They beat everybody down for 700 years before someone finally defeated them. The Romans finally fell, and it was 476 AD. Okay? So that was a long time ago. Who killed them? Well, some people called the Vandals killed them. Ever heard the term vandalism before?
Yeah.
These are the guys that vandalism is named after, the Vandals. They like to destroy things for no particular reason. Okay. So, when the Romans fell and their empire went away, everyone that was left was in the east. Okay? Rome was this area right here. Okay? Everyone that was left was here, right where it says Istanbul, and east of there. But all the Romans fell apart. Okay? So the Germanic people, the barbarians, took over, and they went back to what was called the Dark Ages, because all the Roman technology went poof. Okay? And they had these kind of swords. This is what they fought with. These big swords. Now, these are called hand-and-a-half swords. Weird names, right? Who thinks they know why it's called a hand-and-a-half sword? How about you?
Because it's big like a hand.
Okay, good guess. How about you in the corner there?
You put one hand on the handle and one hand on the handle.
Very good. He is very correct. First person to get that right in quite a while. It's because you can put one hand on the handle. You can fight with it one-handed, like this.
Oh, it's so hard.
Did you? Yeah, we'll tell you about that in a second. Now, you can fight like that. You can fight two-handed, like this. You saw it's a little awkward and heavy, right? Two-handed, it's really fast. Okay? Or you can fight with a hand and a half, which is what he said. You put one hand here, and it's not a half a hand like this. No. It's like this. Because what that lets you do is pivot and swing the sword.
Just like your shoulder.
Yep.
There's a ball on your shoulder, and that, you know how you have all that motion? Same thing, except you're giving it to the end of your sword.
See? So if I want to make this motion with my sword with one hand, this is an 8-pound sword. That takes a lot of energy and effort. It's like swinging a bowling ball around. You can't do it
If I want
very
to do it,
long.
all I have to do is this.
Yeah, you put the hand down there, and I'm just rolling my wrists around. So when you're fighting, you would start off like this. We fight with one hand. We might bang them together once, twice, and then you take it like this and push. Okay? And I can turn this into a stabbing weapon when it normally isn't. Normally you slash with these, right? Boom, boom. Stab. And he goes down. And I can hammer on it too, which means I can hit him at close range. If we're in this close, it's hard to swing one of these swords, isn't it? Got to do the limbo, you know, Matrix. But if I go like this, I can be really close. They can stab it into me like that, right? Yeah, we both have a problem right now. So, these kind of swords lasted for a long, long time because Well, they didn't have a lot of technology, they didn't have any schools, they didn't have anything to kind of progress. So this went into way into the 1100s, 1200s. Yes? They had lots of knives. You're going to see one really cool one in a second. Yes. Now, who saw the sparks when we hit them together? Who's seen that happen in movies? A lot of people, right? Okay. Sparks do happen when you bang swords together. In the movies, they do what's called flint powder. Does anyone know how a lighter works? You know, it sparks, sparks, sparks? They cover the blades in that to make it spark really, really good, right? But real blades do spark. Why? When you hit them together, they'll spark. Now, why do they spark? Okay, let's see. How about you? Friction. What's the friction doing? Do you know?
Rubbing against.
Okay, but what's burning?
The metal.
The metal. Right. Exactly right. If you look at this sword, look at how jagged and messed up this is. Okay? Because every time they get hit together, little bits of metal go away. If you're lucky, or unlucky, depending on how you see it, when the little bit of metal gets, friction hits it, bit of metal flies off, it gets so hot from the friction that it actually burns up in the air. So you're seeing a tiny little piece of metal that's heated to enough to burn.
Whoa.
So that happens in real life. So now you know something in the movies is real. They just make it more awesome in the movies. Here you'll see a couple of little sparks. Okay? Now,
Hooray, more awesome!
I'll start with this one. Yes. So we have these swords. We know they spark. Now, the people in Europe